Hello everybody, today we're doing a video for GTA Car Kits in a 2008 Mitsubishi Lancer, and today we're going to show you how to install our Android-based stereo. As you can see, it's already installed in this car and you can do things like Bluetooth, maps, radio, Bluetooth music. You can connect this radio to a personal hotspot or a Wi-Fi network to have access to things like the PlayStore. You can also add an optional dongle to this radio to support wireless or wired CarPlay or Android Auto. As you can see, it's paired to our iPhone wirelessly right now. And here you can operate music by touchscreen. And you have access to Waze and all the apps within Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So now we're gonna go ahead and show you how to install this radio in your Mitsubishi Lancer. Tools that you're gonna need is a 10mm socket with an extension, a side cutting pliers, panel removal tool, and a hook tool, and also a Phillips screwdriver. So first we're gonna start by removing this trim piece under the stereo, and to do that we're gonna have to remove this piece over here on the side. We're gonna open the glove box and take our Phillips screwdriver, and right here there's one bolt that holds this side panel in place. Once it's removed, you're just gonna use your hands and pull this piece off. As you can see, it's held on clips, and that's the bolt that we removed. Again, we're gonna use our Phillips screwdriver and remove one more bolt here. Now we're gonna use the panel removal tool and gently get underneath this piece. And we're gonna work our way down towards the driver. And as you can see, it comes off, and here are just the clips. Under the radio there's this hazard panel switch which we have to remove, and it's held by 3 screws. Again, Phillips. As you're gonna see, there's the 2 on the top are the same and the one on the bottom is different, so when you're putting it back, just note that. Next, you're gonna grab the hazard switch from the sides and gently take it off. There's gonna be one connection here which you have to press on the clip and release it. And now there's another wire going to the original stereo. And we're gonna use our hook tool and we're gonna get underneath this black clip. We're gonna release the black clip and undo this wire. Next, we're gonna take our panel removal tool and get underneath the radio. You're gonna start from the bottom because that's where the clips are, and work your way towards the top. And it comes off. Once it's removed, there's a few things that we're gonna have to remove from the original faceplate. First are the clips. So you're gonna use again our hook tool. You're gonna get under the clip from one side and then do the same from the other side. And we're gonna do the same for the rest of these white clips. So now we have these 4 clips removed and we're gonna install them on our radio. Next, we're gonna remove the original vents because we're also gonna transfer them to our radio. And to do that, there's 2 main clips at the bottom. So this is the bottom of this panel, which you have to release, again with our hook tool. Once you release them, there's also one here. And that usually gives you enough to remove it. There's also one clip on the side. I'm gonna do the same on this one. I'm gonna release these clips. And at this point, we can put the original panel away. We will not need it anymore. So we have our original vents which we removed, and for reference, I'm gonna install them back into the car to tell you what you're gonna do next. So we're gonna take our side cutting pliers. You're gonna see that they have these inner corners. Inner lower corner, you have to trim in order for it to fit perfectly into our radio frame. So this one we already trimmed, and this one is the driver's side. So we're gonna show you on the driver's side vent how we're gonna trim it. So this piece that is sticking out, you're just gonna take your side cutting pliers and you're gonna trim this piece off. And once it's trimmed, as you can see, these are the 2 that you have to do. And now we're gonna install them into our frame. So once we remove the radio panel, as you can see, some original clips are left behind. It can happen to you the same way. They might be left on top or somewhere below. These ones we have to transfer to our stereo, so we have to remove them. So we're gonna get underneath them and push them out with our finger, and it comes off. Same with this one. So now we have the original clips and we're gonna transfer them over to our stereo. And you gotta make sure that they click in. Next, we're gonna install the original vents, which we showed you earlier how to trim. So this is the passenger side vent. So we're gonna line it up. So the clips are the same as the original. I'm gonna start from the top. And clipped in. And now we're gonna do the driver's side. And that's it, all the clips have been clipped in. So once you install the vents, you gotta make sure to flip it over and to check that they're functioning well and that there's no gaps here or towards the passenger. As you can see, it has to fit perfectly and they have to work nice and the same way as the original. At this point, we can put this radio away and continue with removing the original radio. There's 4 bolts holding the radio in place. So there's one on top, one at the bottom, same here, one on top, one at the bottom. And we're gonna use our Phillips screwdriver again. Next, we're gonna remove the radio unit. We're gonna tilt it, and there's 3 connections here. So one is for the antenna, you just pull it out, and 2 for the actual stereo. You're gonna press on the clip and remove the connections. And you will not need this anymore, so we're gonna put it away. Now we have the harness that comes with our radio, and we're gonna connect it. And it's just straight plug and play. And the other end will go into the back of our stereo. Also, there is a ground connection here, and we're gonna connect it right here to the 10mm bolt. That's where we're gonna use our 10mm socket with the extension to undo this bolt. You don't have to remove it fully. You just have to loosen a little bit in order to put the ground in and tighten it. Next, we're gonna run the 2 USB connections into the glove box, and one end is gonna connect into the back of the stereo. So we're gonna take that end, we're gonna open the glove box, we're gonna feed it through, and we're gonna bring it out to the back of the radio, and you can just put the USBs inside the glove box. Next, we're gonna show you how to run the microphone and the GPS antenna up into this corner right here. We're gonna start by grabbing the weather stripping, pulling it down. Next, we're gonna take the airbag cover from the inside and pull it towards yourself. It's just held on the clip here. You're gonna take the microphone wire and you're gonna loop it behind the airbag. You'll pull the wire through, so you have the microphone hanging here. And then you can choose, once you peel the back of it, you can choose where you're gonna position it. And same goes for the GPS antenna. And once both are on the inside and towards the windshield of the car, we can go ahead and clip the panel back. And you're gonna run the wire down the A pillar and start putting the weather stripping back. Once you reach to this point, so you're gonna grab this panel and pull it towards the back of the car, and it just comes off. And now we have the opening to feed the wire, both wires here, and we're gonna bring them out from the back of the stereo. To help us feed the wires behind the dashboard, we're gonna use a metal rod, which we're gonna put into the opening. And our goal is to have it behind the radio so we can pull the wire through. Once you cut the rod behind the radio, you can take your 2 wires and you can tape them to the other end here. So once we tape the 2 ends, we're gonna pull them through. And as you can see, we have them on the inside. Carefully pull the wire through, and you're gonna hide it behind this panel. At this point, you can also put the original trim piece back and hand install back the weather stripping. There's also optional cables for aftermarket subwoofers, and if you want to add an aftermarket camera to the stereo, you can do it. So you would use this connection that plugs in to the back of our stereo. We're gonna start doing the connections. First, we're gonna take the GPS and screw it on to the back of the stereo. Next, we're gonna take the microphone wire and plug it in here. You're also gonna attach the Wi-Fi antenna. When you're doing that, make sure that you put it in the correct place, because on one side is GPS and the other one is the Wi-Fi. We'll plug in the USBs, which are in the glove box, then the original antenna. and the main harness to power on the stereo. At this point, we can start putting the radio inside this car. And when you're doing that, make sure that there's no wires in the way. As you can see, we kind of tied the wires for the GPS and microphones, so they're not hanging anywhere. So now carefully, we're gonna start putting the radio inside this car. We'll start with the top edge. Make sure that nothing is in the way. This wire for the hazard switch panel, make sure you pull it out so it doesn't get caught behind. We're gonna clip it in on top and then work our way down. As you can see, now it's installed. Now we will take the hazard switch panel, plug it back in. This wire which we've removed earlier will not be necessary anymore. Now we can put the 3 screws back. So there's 2 on top and 1 at the bottom. At this point, once you install the stereo, it's a good idea to test it before you assemble the rest of the car. So you're gonna test that it turns on and that the sound is working, and then you can put everything back. So we will take the original panel and start with the clips that are closer towards the driver and work your way down towards the passenger. On the passenger side, we're gonna put the bolt back. Next, we're gonna open the glove box and put back this panel. And then you're gonna install back this bolt. As you can see, at this point, the installation is complete, and we're gonna test the radio for the final time. So once the radio turns on, first thing you're gonna check is that it plays sound. So as you can hear, it's playing. It's working. Next, you will pair your phone to the Bluetooth and start enjoying this radio. Again, this was a video for GTA Car Kits and a Mitsubishi Lancer. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.